Welcome to Shadow Tales Teller. Prepare yourself for a journey into the cold dark, where silence speaks louder than words. Winter arrived early in Grayson Ridge that year, burying the small, isolated town under a blanket of suffocating white snow. The roads were completely blocked, turning the entire town into a frozen world where silence was heavy enough to crush you. The Carter family had just moved into an old wooden house at the edge of the forest, seeking a new beginning. It was a rustic place, secluded and quiet, standing alone against the vast, white landscape that stretched endlessly in all directions. On their very first night, young Lucas could not resist the urge to run outside and play in the fresh snow. Under the dim light of the porch, he shaped the freezing powder with his bare hands, building a new friend. He worked tirelessly until a figure stood before him, a snowman almost as tall as himself, silent and still. Lucas gave it a name with innocent delight, calling him Mr. Snow, as he carefully placed 2 stones for eyes. To finish his masterpiece, he took off his own old wool scarf and wrapped it warmly around the snowman's neck. Before heading inside to the warmth, Lucas turned back one last time and waved, whispering a soft "good night" to his friend. The door clicked shut, leaving Mr. Snow alone in the dark, silent yard, standing watch as the freezing night deepened. The next morning, Lucas woke up early, eager to see his creation standing tall in the fresh morning light. He rushed to the glass and looked out, but confusion quickly replaced his excitement as he stared into the yard. Mr. Snow was not where Lucas had left him. He was standing significantly closer to the back porch than before. Lucas frowned, thinking perhaps the snow had slid, or maybe the wind had pushed him during the long, stormy night. He pushed the thought away, but that evening, as the family sat down for dinner, a cold feeling returned. Lucas glanced through the glass door, and his heart suddenly tightened in his chest as he saw the figure outside. Mr. Snow was now only a few meters away from the entrance, looming large and silent in the fading light. Those black stone eyes seemed to be staring directly into the warmth of the house, watching them eat their dinner. Lucas spoke with a trembling voice, telling his father that the snowman was moving on its own, creeping closer. His father laughed it off, dismissing it as the wild imagination of a child adjusting to a new home. But his mother did not laugh. She looked at the figure outside with a gaze full of quiet, instinctive fear. Without saying a word, she stood up and firmly pulled the curtain shut, blocking the cold stare from outside. That night, the house fell into a deep silence, but Lucas was pulled from his sleep by a strange sound. It was a scratching, dragging noise, like something heavy being pulled slowly across the packed snow outside his window. Terrified, but curious, he crept out of bed and moved slowly toward the window, his heart pounding in his ears. He peeled back the curtain just an inch to peek out, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Mr. Snow was standing right there on the porch, so close that he was almost touching the wooden siding. Lucas could see cracks in the snow that formed the face, twisting the expression into a grotesque, frozen smile. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. A sharp, distinct knock echoed through the wood. One single, heavy thud. Then came another, and another. 3 slow, deliberate knocks that demanded to be heard in the dead of night. Lucas screamed, a sound of pure terror that shattered the quiet house and woke his parents instantly from sleep. Lights flickered on, and his parents rushed into the room, finding their son trembling and pointing at the window. His father grabbed a baseball bat and marched downstairs to the front door, ready to confront the intruder. He gripped the handle tight, took a deep breath, and swung the door open, ready to strike whatever was there. But the porch was empty. There was no one there. Just the howling wind and the swirling snow blowing inside. He looked around the yard, confused. The snowman was gone. It had vanished completely into the dark, snowy night. Then he looked down. There were no footprints leaving the porch, but there were wet, slushy tracks leading inside. The trail of melting snow didn't stop at the door. It continued down the hallway, moving deeper into their home. A scream from upstairs froze his blood. It was his wife. He turned and sprinted back up the stairs. By the time the police arrived, the house was a scene of panic, illuminated by flashing red and blue lights. The officers searched the grounds but found no sign of a break-in, no footprints leaving the property. Nothing. But inside Lucas's room, right in the center of the cold wooden floor, lay a large puddle of meltwater. And lying in the middle of that dark, icy puddle was the old wool scarf Lucas had given to Mr. Snow. The family didn't wait for morning. They packed what they could and fled the house that very same night. They drove through the blinding storm, never looking back, desperate to put distance between them and that cursed place. The old wooden house sat abandoned from that day on, reclaiming its silence at the edge of the dark forest. Years have passed, but the people of Grayson Ridge still whisper the story when the winter snow falls deep. They say if you walk past that abandoned house at night and see a snowman standing in the yard, if you see a figure made of snow standing still and silent under the pale, cold light of the moon, keep your eyes on it. Do not blink, and whatever you do, never, ever turn your back on it. Because the legend says, it is shy. It only likes to move when it knows you are not watching. The house remains empty to this day, waiting for the next family who dares to build a friend in the snow. So next time you build a snowman, remember Lucas Carter, and check exactly where you leave your frozen friend. Innocence can be a dangerous thing in Grayson Ridge, where the winter cold has a life of its own. The cold wants to come inside. It craves the warmth of your home, and it will wait patiently for years. Some things are better left unmade. Some snow should remain on the ground, formless and asleep forever in the cold. Watch the shadows in your yard tonight. If they seem to shift, lock your doors and stay away from the windows. The story of the Carter family is a warning to us all. The winter watches, and sometimes the winter walks. Police files from that night remain sealed, but the officers who were there never forgot the water on the floor. They could not explain how a pile of snow entered a locked house without leaving a single footprint outside. The forest around Grayson Ridge keeps its secrets well, hiding them under layers of ice and heavy silence. Today, new families move in and new children run out to play, unaware of what happened in the old house. They roll the snow, they build the bodies, and they find the stones for eyes, repeating the cycle again. And from the edge of the woods, something ancient and cold watches them, waiting for the sun to go down. Darkness falls quickly here. The wind picks up, and the friendly shapes in the yard begin to look different. Is it just a trick of the light? Or did that snowman just turn its head to look at you? Shadows stretch long across the snow. Shapes distort and merge. The line between imagination and reality begins to blur. Remember the knocking. 3 slow knocks. If you hear them, do not open the door. Do not look out. The Carter family escaped, but they left something behind. A fear that will never truly melt away. The snow covers everything in the end. It hides the tracks, it buries the truth, and it cleans the slate. Do you believe in the snowman that moved? Or is it just a story to keep children inside at night? Whatever you choose to believe, keep your house warm, lock your windows, and never trust a smiling face of snow. Thank you for watching Shadow Tales Teller. Sleep well tonight, and remember to keep your eyes open. See you next time.